pair of scissors, a pom-pom maker, and a ball of yarn. So I'm just moving my pom-pom maker around so you can see how it moves. We're going to be using one set of arms at a time, so just go ahead and align those two arms like so. Then I'm just taking my yarn and I'm going to begin to wrap them around the pom-pom maker. You want to make sure that the pom-pom maker is, both arms are lined up so that like shown here. Then what I'm just going to do is start to wrap around the pom-pom maker. And I'm just going to do this until I can't see any more of the yellow tulle. It should be kind of nice and fluffy, pretty dense by now. You can kind of see how it looks. And as I turn it over on the inside, you shouldn't be able to see any weird ends sticking out. It should be looking all like nice and clean. And from right to left, you shouldn't see any exposed areas. I'm simply just going to cut off the strand of yarn, loop it up, and close the pom-pom maker. Then I'm going to go ahead and open up the other set of arms. I've gone ahead and aligned them like so. And I'm going to go ahead and begin to wrap around the pom-pom maker like I did with the other side. Simply just repeat what we did to the other side. Then I'm just trimming the yarn and closing the pom-pom maker back together. So along the middle of the pom-pom maker, I'm going to take my pair of scissors and I'm going to go ahead and cut along the middle. This is going to create the pom-pom-like effect, and since the yarn's so thick, you may have to go one strand of yarn at a time or one layer of yarn, but you're just going to go ahead and do this until all the strands have been cut on both sides so that you will get the look of your pom-pom maker correct. Alright, so I've gone ahead and done this here, and I'm just going to take my hat, and at the top of my hat you should have two strands of yarn that you use to finish off the hat. I'm just going to separate those. And I'm going to take my pom-pom maker and take one strand and put it through this like valley area of the pom-pom maker. See, I'm just sliding it through that cut. And I'm going to repeat this with the other side. Alright, now at the top of the pom-pom maker, I'm going to use my fingers to push down on the actual pom-pom maker so that it stays really nice and tight with the hat. You don't want this pom-pom to come off the hat at any point, so we want to make sure it's really secure. Now I'm just tying a knot at the top of the pom-pom maker. Then I'm going to slide the two strands of yarn down to the bottom of the pom-pom maker and tie another knot. And I'm going to slide them back up to the top to do a third and final knot. I'm just going to move them out of my way back down to the bottom because we're going to be using them in a second. So now I'm going to take the pom-pom maker off the actual pom-pom. To do this, I'm just going to take each arm off the pom-pom at a time so you can see how fluffy it is. Repeat with this with the bottom. And then I'm simply just going to literally pull the pom-pom maker apart. It should just kind of pop right off. So to show you that in better detail, all I did was just separate the two halves. Now I'm just going to close up my pom-pom maker so I can use it for future pom-poms. Alright, so now I'm going to take those two strands that I used attached to the hat, and I'm going to take my hand inside the actual hat, and I'm going to thread them through an opening between a stitch and towards the crown of the hat. And just repeat this with the other one. Now on the inside of the hat, I'm just going to go ahead and tie a double knot with these two strands. This for me is kind of like an emergency brake with a car. You just really want to make sure that that car doesn't roll down the hill, you know. Likewise with the pom-pom, you just want to make sure it's not going to come off. And I'm just trimming the ends. Alright, so just turn your hat backside, right side out. Backside out, right side out, and then I'm going to take my scissors to shape up the pom-pom. This does get quite messy, I will warn you. I'm just taking the outliers and kind of eliminating those first. You know, the real obvious big strands you want to get rid of. And then once you've done that, you just kind of want to go ahead and shape and give it that nice, you know, circular shape. You don't want it to be too ovally or rectangularly. I really like pom-poms because they just add that perfect finishing touch to any hat. And that's about it. Now you're all done.